Welcome to Off the Couch Podcast, where we support everything movement, fitness, and performance related. From work, exercise, hobbies, and everything in between. If it inspires you to get off the couch and get moving, we're all about it. So let's dive in. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Off the Couch Podcast. This is episode 1. This episode is brought to you by Uno Mas Ropa. Uno Mas Ropa is a clothing company that supports high performance in all aspects of life, specifically CrossFit, but it could be skateboarding, careers, or anything like that. So if you're a high performer and you're looking for some clothing that you would like, check them out, unomasropa.com, or you can check out their social media. Their handles are at unomasropa. All right, this first episode is our very first one. So I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Gabriel Sandoval. My nickname is Gobs. Don't ask about the nickname. That is just what it is. Personally, a little bit of information about myself. I love fitness. I love exercise. I love movement. I've been moving since I was young. Started wrestling when I was a little kid, probably about 6 years old. Got into basketball, football, skateboarding, snowboarding. If it involves movement, I love it. And that's where we get this mantra, off the couch, is we're just supporting all things that are getting you off the couch, getting you up active, being a better version of yourself. So what we support is just high performance and being active. So if that sounds like something you like, then you'll probably like our podcast. I personally am also an owner of a CrossFit gym. I love CrossFit. I believe it's the best way on the planet to be fit and overall healthy. That's just my personal belief. But here on Off the Couch Podcast, we love all versions of fitness. So if you're into Zumba or F45 or Orange Theory or the CrossFit or whatever it is that you do, hey, if it works for you, we love it. So keep it up. All right, our first guest today is Anthony. Hey. All right, Anthony is a young entrepreneur. He is very innovative. He owns multiple companies. Specifically, one is called MTN Roofing. The other one is Uno Mas Ropa. All right, he's very successful at both of these. We're going to get to talking about what drives him to be this entrepreneur and to be a high performer, what drives him in his roofing company and also his clothing company, Uno Mas Ropa. But real quick, we'll get a quick introduction of Anthony. I was introduced to him because I own a CrossFit gym and it's called CrossFit MOB. He came in here one day and decided he wanted to do CrossFit. So we're going to start there. Anthony, how did you find CrossFit MOB?
All right. I found it by literally Googling CrossFit near me.
Perfect. It's working.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I was, I needed to do something with my health. It was kind of getting out of control. And I have a couple of friends that have done CrossFit. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. And, I skateboard and snowboard, but as I get older, when I hit the ground, it hurts a lot more, and the recovery time to heal up is not as fast as it was in my 20s. So
I feel that.
So, but anyway, so I just needed to do something consistent. So my friends were like, hey, a couple of buddies of mine were like, hey, you should try CrossFit. I think you might like it. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Why not? I'm not I've always heard of CrossFit as being like a dude bro or whatever, but I was like, that's not my type of people, but I need to do something. So I just Googled CrossFit near me. I'll see if there's like a free class or something. And you know what? That was 2 years ago today. And I came into my first CrossFit like, hey, let's try it out for free. And you know what? I love it. It's great.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Well, congratulations on your 2 years of doing CrossFit. That makes me happy. It's getting you off the couch. So we love that. Quick question. So CrossFit it does have its stereotypes, especially from the outside looking in. There's multiple stereotypes CrossFit has. Most of them are just not true. They're complete fallacies. So being a new person to CrossFit, were there any stereotypes that you had before you had come to try CrossFit? Maybe things that might have made you scared or nervous, or you're like, you know what, I heard CrossFit does XYZ and like I'm not really sure. Were there any of those fears or stereotypes you had before you came in here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've heard things of like, oh, it's when you join CrossFit, I've heard that, oh, they don't care about movement, they don't care, they just you're just lifting fast. with no great form. People get injured. There was even like when I was doing even research on CrossFit before I even called CrossFit Mob, and I was like, there was like, oh, it's harsh on your body. You don't, the coaches are not really certified to do what they're supposed to be doing. And it was just like all these like bad things of like injury is what I the most thing that I saw was, oh, you're gonna get hurt doing CrossFit. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. And it's funny, I don't know if you remember, but when I called to like set up an appointment, hey, I want to try this out. You were actually in Hawaii. So you answered the phone. You're like, sorry, I'm just at a
rough life.
I'm in Hawaii right now. And I was like, this mother effer right now is at Hawaii. Like, what is going on? I was like, okay, I get it. People need vacation. But I asked you, I was like, hey, listen, like, I do roofing. I can't afford to get hurt. I've heard so many bad things about, getting injured and doing this type of fitness. And you right off the bat were like, hey, no, don't, like, trust me. We're like, one thing about, at least at my box, we're all about making sure you know the basics, the fundamentals of movement before we even want you to throw some big heavy weights around. And that to me was like, you shut that down really quick when I called, and you were like, no, trust me, like, just come in. I won't be there, but I'll link you up with our manager, April. And she's like, she will be able to, do some movements with you. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, to me, it was like, okay, whatever. As long as they know that my number one priority is not to get injured, because if I get injured and I can't climb on a roof, I can't make money, right? And I can't provide for my family. So I was like, but then if I don't do any kind of movement, right? I'm not healthy anymore, right? I'm going to be, I was pre-diabetic, and I was like, I'm still kind of overweight, but now that fat is turning into muscle. But I was like, I got to do something. I can find a million excuses to not do something, and I was like, you know what? At least you were willing to like know that was my number one priority, is not to get hurt and to then get healthy. So the stereotype was, super aggressive. It's super aggressive. You get injured. The people there are gonna be like super like aggressors, like, and I'm like, dude, I am not those type of people. You know what I mean? I'm a skateboarder, snowboarder type of personality, and like that's not gonna be me. And that I saw it was not that. So
good. Yeah. That's good to hear. Well, personally, being in the gym business and a gym owner, if I was in the business of hurting people, I wouldn't have a business. Right. So it is funny because CrossFit does get those stereotypes. That is a big one of, oh, you're going to get injured doing CrossFit. And the studies all show, Dr. Julie Fouché has a great study, shout out to her, that she went over on her podcast. If you guys want to check that out, that's called Pursuing Health. She has a great podcast. Just going over the actual injury rates of CrossFit compared to other workout methodologies in sports, and it's actually one of the lower ones, believe it or not. So statistically, you have a lower chance of getting injured doing this than other things. But it is a common stereotype that we see in CrossFit, and it's something that I believe as CrossFit affiliates, CrossFit gyms, our job is to combat that stereotype and to show people that it's just absolutely not true. So that stereotype is out there, I understand that, but my job is to make sure that you understand as a person, consumer, member, whatever that is, that this is for everyone and it's infinitely scalable. So those of you that maybe haven't tried CrossFit, or you have maybe some of the same stereotypes, like, oh, you're going to get injured, when it's done correctly, CrossFit is infinitely scalable. It's for anyone. Literally anyone can do it. I got my grandma in here doing this stuff, all right? Or you got teenage young people doing it. We're going to meet you where you're at. And any good fitness program should meet you where you're at. They should never ask you to do things that you're incapable of doing, or things that give you a super high level of like low confidence or discomfort. It's like, we're going to meet you where you're at, whether you've been working out for years or whether you haven't worked out your entire life. We got something that'll work for you. This is infinitely scalable. And what that means is it's infinite. So if you're not able to do a pull-up, well, we have an infinite number of ways, or a lot of ways, to get you a similar stimulus that are going to work those muscles. And it could be something like a standing pull or something. But either way, we're going to get you a good workout. We're going to make sure you're safe. All right, one of the CrossFit methodologies, or something that is important, is exactly what you said, is form over load. technique overload, and that's something we stress in our foundations is, hey, let's get the basics down. Let's get the fundamentals down. Let's make sure we're moving with good posture position and number one, safety. All right, once we get that good movement, that safe movement going, then we can start to work on technique. And then we're going to add the intensity, and intensity comes in forms of reps, weight, and all that stuff. And you'll see that start to progress over time.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I personally am very grateful that you gave us a chance, and that even though that stereotype is out there, you still came in here and you were willing to do it. Real quick, when you came in for your first visit, can you just maybe walk us through kind of coming in the door, and if you remember your first workout, kind of what that was like, and maybe if it debunked anything in your mind when you first walked in here?
So, I mean, I can actually tell you exactly what we did because I took a journal for my first year as CrossFit day by day. Did you know this?
I didn't know that. This
So
is great.
I literally
a great way to track progress and results is journaling or keeping track of your exercises. That's something we do in CrossFit is, we track results through performance. We're tracking our workouts every day. So you can kind of have a reference if you're getting stronger, faster, healthier, all that stuff. But personally, this is awesome. So if you want to get good results, keep track of this stuff.
So listen, I journal as much as I can, especially when I'm doing something new, just because I want to know what my thoughts were in the beginning of doing something, and then and also to look back on it, especially like right now, you asked me a question, I'm like, actually, I can actually tell you exactly what I do, what my thoughts were, because you know what, I mean, 2 years has gone by super quick, and man, and even with my roofing company, like I want to like always improve the next project that I do. Anything, I always want to do better than what I did yesterday. And so, but anyway, so my first day was on April 27, 2021. That was like this was my first day ever trying out CrossFit or anything like this. So this was like the free class that you guys give, or like, hey, let's try it. And it says, I'm about to start my official CrossFit journey. I hope this is a start to a great life. And then this is what it put on there. So the first thing we did was we did 3 sets of 10 calories on the assault bike, and then we just focused on 7 stretches, and then we did 4 burpees. So like we were just kind of like learning how to like do those movements. And I literally said, we went over basics and proper forms, very good, official first class. After the workout, I had a great sensation throughout my body. So I like felt this tingle, like my body was like, first of all, like, what's happening to me, right? Like I was getting that jittery, but I just had like this tingle all over me because I was moving like I have never moved before, right? Like in skateboarding, I would just, ollie up curbs or hit the rail or a box or whatever. But this was moving my arms in a way, doing burpees. Like I'd never done a burpee, I don't think. Never done a burpee. But then, we just practiced with the PVC pipe on like actual movements. I think we were just doing we were learning how to do like barbell movements.
Okay.
And so like, again, I didn't know what any of this stuff meant. But yeah, the first thing that I did was just April grabbed a PVC pipe. And honestly, like when that happened, I thought because I had called you and said, hey, I'm really worried about my, not getting injured, when y'all gave me a PVC pipe, I was like, these motherfuckers are taunting me. Are they taunting me? Like, what the hell is this about? But
totally.
No, but I know it's not. I know it's not. But I was like, okay. But I saw a whole bunch of PVC pipes on the corner, and I was like, okay, maybe this is what they actually do. And April was just telling me like, hey, make sure when you move, put your elbow out. And I realized that like my mobility is still not that's good. I'm still working on my mobility, on bringing my elbows up, and so it was just one of those things of like, it's really focused on stretching. And then it was just really cool to just see this little lady, April, to like tell me like, hey, you're not, like to show me like, hey, this is, do 10 calories as fast as you can. And we're going to do that like 7 times. And even with that, I was just like, what is happening to me? Like my like, if you, with me, like not ever like actually doing like this type of like actually in a gym, I was, you go into a dark place of like your insecurities. Like you're like, holy crap. It's like you literally get slapped in the face, but literally you're moving your body and your heart rate's going super fast, and then your brain automatically is going into like your coping mechanisms. It's like, or like you try to like, you know what, like this ain't good. You should just stop, and you know it's okay to go back. Like, what are you doing? You're kidding yourself. And you know, my mind was just going crazy that first, just for the free like one-on-one. I was just like, dude, this is like, what am I doing? But then again, in the back of my mind is like, this is why you need to do it. Like, this is why you need to do this. It's like, because you're struggling on a PVC pipe and holding a squat position for like less than 2 seconds. I was like, I can't do this. And so that first day was yeah, it was kind of eye opening on just like, even though it was just basic movements, I was like, okay, this is I need to do something. I'm gonna kind of stick with what's going on. Let's go on to the next free session.
Heck yeah.
but yeah. So that was like going in through my first day was that, and you know, April said, she told me, she said, you know, a note, I kept notes from April was drink lots of water, stretch, make healthier decisions like ordering lunch. For example, chicken over burgers and salads over fries. Baby steps. Like, literally, I say
That's exactly what
baby
it says.
steps. Like,
He's got
baby-
this journal. That's
like-
what it says.
like
It says baby steps. Yeah, and
I
it's
got
like word for
just
word.
scrolling down
Yeah.
of all of our workouts.
So that's great. The journal thing's great. I love it. And look at, you can look back a year or two later and like reference this. Real quick, just to back up.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
The not the next day, but 2 days later, I just put on here. I really pushed myself. I even threw up.
Oh, I threw up.
I put it like a little throw up emoji.
Oh,
So, yeah.
geez.
Sorry,
you guys
go
come
ahead.
to CrossFit, you're going to throw up. No, I'm just kidding. Not everyone throws up. That is something to do with intensity. We're going to talk about that in a second. Real quick, just to backtrack, we keep mentioning April. So just so you guys know who she is, April is our gym manager here at CrossFit MOB. She's also one of our coaches. She's a great coach, great gym manager. She does our nutrition coaching as well, so shout out to her. So that's who he's talking about when he's referencing this. His first workout, your first workout was, it was on an assault bike, and you know, they're named the assault bike for a good reason. I always have this joke that's like, it's not called the mutual consent bike, and rightfully so, because that thing is going to assault your legs, your arms, your lungs, your heart. It's a very effective machine, but it is very challenging. Something that I always say about like CrossFit specifically, but when it comes to exercise, intensity is what breeds results. And so we have to have a level of intensity to get results when we exercise. And that's true when it comes to anything, whether you're doing CrossFit or just running or lifting, whatever. There has to be a level of intensity. And like I said, intensity can come in reps, weight, time frame, tempo, things like that. So we have to have this high level of intensity in order to get results. However, with what we do, we always make sure technique is happening first, safe movement, and then we start to add that intensity. But that intensity is hard. High intensity is hard to do, not just physically, but mentally, as Anthony just talked about. We get to a point, and we call this in CrossFit, quote unquote, the dark place, where in every workout, we get to a high level of discomfort. And that's where the intensity starts to really kick in. And that's where we're going to see the most results, is when we get to this high level of discomfort. And if you've ever done CrossFit, you will understand what we're talking about with this high level of discomfort. As we mentioned, you get to this point in the workout where, man, everything in your body wants to stop. Your muscles are burning, your lungs are on fire, your mind is telling you, like, it's like this fight or flight response, this survival mode goes in that's like, we need to stop doing this. And where you're going to start to get those results is where you start to realize that this is just your mind lying to you, or quote unquote being weak. And when you've learned to continue to drive through this, you're going to realize that A, I'm capable of more than I thought I was capable of. B, I'm seeing better results than I've ever seen. And C, I'm capable of more than I thought I was.
Yeah. No, right.
So that intensity is what breeds those results. But it's like we go to that dark place, and man, I have such a respect for people that choose CrossFit as their method of fitness, because it is hard. It's not easy. But I always tell people, getting results is hard. If what you're doing in the gym or in life in general is easy, chances are it's not working, or it's not good for you, or it's not going to give you good results. So it needs to be hard. CrossFit is very hard. And I'll be the first to admit that I've been doing this for 13 plus years. It is hard. I still get nervous before every workout because I know how I'm going to feel in that workout of, man, my heart rate is very high, my muscles are on fire, I'm breathing very hard, I'm in a high level of discomfort, and I want to stop. But I don't, because I know those results are there. And that's where we're getting the best results, is when we get to that point where we want to stop the most. So you come in, you do your first workout, you experience that, and what about your mentality made you experience something that, in my opinion, the first time I did my first CrossFit WOD, at the time it feels like this near-death experience, because it's almost this level of intensity we aren't used to or we've never had before. When we have a level of intensity that our body's not used to, sometimes it can lead to weird reactions, lightheadedness, throwing up, which is not a desired reaction. We don't want you to throw up when you guys come here. We don't want these things to happen. But sometimes if we push harder than our body's used to, it can have these reactions. Also, it depends on what you ate. Maybe he ate right before he came in, something like that. But what I'm getting at, the question is, what about that experience, which on the outside looking in doesn't sound like the most desirable experience, made you be like, hey, this is my thing, I like it, and I want to continue doing this?
So honestly, what made me want to continue to do CrossFit was the fact that when I actually, on May 5th was the first time I came to the group setting. It was like, all right, I did my one-on-one with April, and then now I'm gonna excuse me, and then now I'm gonna go to the group setting. And when I came to the group setting, it was different types of people. There was an older lady there, and there was an older guy there. There's some young guy. It was just a diverse crowd, and I was the workout of the day, I didn't even know it was called WOD. I was like, today's WOD. I was like, I don't even know what that means.
That's an acronym. WOD means workout of the day. A lot of people don't know that. So WOD, workout of the day. We also refer to it as a Metcon, which is metabolic conditioning. You learn these acronyms as you start doing this.
I'm still learning them.
Yeah, tomato, tomato. Anyways.
Yeah, but yeah. So I was just like, all right, this WOD is and then they actually, I can read it, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna, it was a time cap. And in that time cap, I knew that I had to do this many movements with this weight in this time frame. And I was like, oh my God, this is like, I felt like I was about to jump into this like ride of like, okay, I got to do all of this and this is the time. Like, so like I jumped off the bat, just jumped into this workout, moved really, really quick, tried to throw the weight around. And I was just like, I'm very competitive because I see other people. And I'm like, oh, I guess I said, what happens if I asked the coach, I was like, what happens if we finish first? What if faster you finish, then you can rest for the rest of the time.
You get more rest.
You're done, right? So I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go super fast. But that was just me. That was my ego. That was my ego of going, okay, look at these other people around you, and you're going to, like, you're younger than this guy, you're a little bit older, but you might be like, all this thing was going through in my mind of like, okay, I'm gonna just go. And I went, first of all, humbled me up real quick because I couldn't finish the workout. Some people finished before me, like the older lady and the other gentleman and everybody, and people who've been doing it longer than I have, but I couldn't finish it. But what I liked about it, this is what brought me back, was they were cheering me on when they were finished. It wasn't like they were done and they're like, all right, putting up my weights and see you later, and all right, I'm gonna go off and talk and like do my own thing. Everyone had a mutual respect of like, all right, this person is not done. You got this. You're almost there. The time cap's almost over. Like, you got this. And I'm like, when that happened, two things was going in my mind. One, I was like, who the F is these people? Are they like mocking me? Or like, why? Like, that was like an insecurity. But then the other part of me was like, that's kind of cool that they're cheering me on. Like, is this a legit thing? Are they really cheering me on because they really believe in wherever I am, my physical capabilities right now? They know that I can do this, or if I can't do this, they know eventually I'm going to get there. But I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, why are they looking at me? That's kind of cool. Like, this, I was going back and forth in my mind. And again, when you're working out, this is that dark place, right? That's your insecurities. And then there's a little bit of like, oh, I can do this. And like, but what I liked was that everyone in that session was like, you got this. You're almost there. Oh man, you know what? You didn't, and I didn't finish the workout, but they're like, hey, you did good. That's awesome. Like, hey, you did your hardest and that's great. You came in today and that's awesome. And I was like, I'm all like, all right, whatever. Like, thanks, you know.
It's like breathing.
Yeah,
You're like, all
I
right,
was like,
thank you.
whatever, dude. Like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know who you are, but then also
could-
that's kind of cool.
You guys crushed it, but okay, thanks.
Yeah, you guys crushed it, whatever. I don't know if you're mocking me, but whatever. But again, that was just like, but I was like, in retrospect, after I was done, I was like, man, that was low key cool. Like, I like that, and I was like that reminded me of something I'm familiar with, and that's the skate culture. That's the snowboarding culture. When we're all trying to do this one trick on a box or on a rail or a stair set, we're all at this one skate spot at the same time, and one's trying to ollie off the stair set, one is trying to do a flip trick off the stair set, one's probably hitting the rail on that stair set. Those are different levels in this one thing that you're trying to conquer. And then what we're doing is we all know where we were before. You know, we all been in that one position before. So that's why we're like, in skate culture, we're like, you got this. Like, if someone's all in, like, dude, you fucking got it. You know, that's awesome. The other part is like, oh, you hit that rail, that's awesome. And we understand that challenge. And that's why I was like, I see the similarities in that aspect. And I was like, I can kind of mess with this. Like, this is kind of cool. So yeah, sorry, I kind of but that's cool. But like, that was going through my mind. You know what I mean? So. But yeah.
I'd love to hear the experience. That's one of the things that sets CrossFit aside from a lot of other workout methodologies is community. Man, the community is key when it comes to doing what we do. Real quick, just to backtrack on something he talked about, because I'm passionate about this stuff and I want everyone to be as successful as possible. He mentioned one of his first times coming in here that you let your ego get in the way, and you were maybe doing things a little bit beyond your reach. This is a very common thing that we see. We get people walking in here, and we always say check your ego at the door. It's easier said than done. But long story short, it's like, you really just go into the gym, any gym, without an ego. Ego is the number one way how bad things happen, how we end up getting hurt. Things like that is in our mind. We think we should be doing things that maybe we shouldn't. So long story short, just check that ego at the door. Come in, humble yourself, be open to coaching and opinions, and also starting at a different level than everyone else, and you're going to have a high level of success. Yeah. That's easier said than done, but just check your ego.
And going on with ego too, another thing to go back on when you said, like, what was that? What actually hooked you into CrossFit was there was one moment in particular, and it was Juan.
Shout out Juan.
Yeah, what's up, Juan? But Juan, we were doing a workout together, and I, was really trying, and he saw that I was disappointed in myself that I didn't finish the workout. This was at another time, and he was like, "Hey man, you did really good." He's like, "But hey, like, you don't have to do the weight that's listed for the workout. You can modify that weight. It's okay. It's all right, dude. Like, I've been doing this for like 9 years and I can barely do that. Like, that's okay. Like, just really focus." Again, he was just saying what the coaches were saying, what you were saying, what April was saying is like, scale that weight down, do that. And again, that ego was like, no, like, I got to do that. I got to do this. And he was like, dude, you're going to hurt yourself. If you do that, you're going to really hurt you. And then again, that wasn't a coach telling me that. That was another member saying, hey man, like, that's when I was like, man, like, even the members have the same mindset in CrossFit of saying, like, we want to see you succeed just as much as I want to succeed. And I was just like, again, this dude that I barely know was like, dude, you did an amazing job, but like, dude, it's okay. And to like, for me, that was another moment that was like, I can really mess with this community. This is a good community. I'm liking it so far. So good job, Juan.
Hell yeah. Shout out Juan. Thanks, Juan. Juan's one of our great members. He's been here a long time, and he's exactly like Anthony's talking about here. He's welcoming, he's helpful, he's caring, he cares about the new people that come in here. Well, a lot of our members do, and that's what we love. But getting back to, like, that's just the community of CrossFit, and that's in our core values here at CrossFit MOB. MOB stands for mind over body. That's in our core values. We have 3 core values, and they all have the word community in them. We're a community of people that work hard. We're a community of people that get results, and we're a community of people that support each other. And that right there is an example. Like, we support each other through what we're going through. And it's that whole sense of community that kind of separates us from a lot of other workout types or modalities is, when you're going into your Globo gym or what have you, usually it's just you you got your earphones in or other people do. Nobody's really talking to each other. And you could be there, 2 hours and not say a word to anyone else.
Yeah.
And you can also be doing things you shouldn't be doing. And nobody's going to come over and tell you right or wrong or help you out for the most part. And so there's really that lack of community there where we're all coming together for this common goal. But like you said, with skateboarding, I see this. I used to skateboard, or I mean, I technically still do. I used to do it a lot more, or snowboarding. We see this sense of community, especially in CrossFit, where all of a sudden it's this group of people. We have this common goal, and we're supporting each other as we go through this. And we're all starting at different levels. And we understand, those of us that have been here a long time, what it's like to be a beginner, because we've all been a beginner. I couldn't even snatch a barbell over my head when I first started doing this stuff. And so we understand the fears, the struggles, all of these reservations that new people have. Mm-hmm. And our goal is, I love what we do here, and most of our members love what we do here, is to kind of break that ice and be like, hey, it's okay. Like, it's okay to feel this. It's okay to use this light weight. It's okay to scale this. Like, we've been there. Trust me. It's okay. Don't force yourself mentally to do any of this stuff or do anything you shouldn't be doing. We understand what it's like to be in that position. And that's where this community comes into place. Man, we're just a community of people that we're just here to try to better ourselves physically and mentally. And we want to share that with the people around us. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you've never set foot in a CrossFit gym, go try one. In your area, I guarantee you there's probably a CrossFit gym down the street, and they should offer a free trial. If they don't, let me know which gym it is so I can reach out to them and tell them they should offer a free trial. Go check them out. And you'll just see that sense of community that you've never seen at most other gyms, where the people actually do care. And that's what keeps us personally, but most CrossFit gyms going, is the community. If we didn't have that, we have nothing. And so we're surrounded by a group of people that support each other in this pursuit to be better. And it's the most amazing thing when you see it happening organically, and you see it happening in a place, and you get to experience it when you come in and you're like, what the hell is this? I've never seen this. I've never had people cheering me on for a workout, or this is weird and it reminds me of skateboarding or these other things, and it's different. I've never really had it, but I like it and I want to be a part of it.
Dude, and here's the thing, man, like I'm low-key cynical, man, and especially when it comes to like workouts or like gym memberships or whatever. And listen, I'm in sales, right? Like, I have a roofing company. I know sales tactics. I know certain things that to do, whatever. Like, I'm around it all the time. And when you go to a regular gym, right? Like, I'm always like, even with the free trials, I'm like, okay, there's always going to be a hook. These people are going to be about me only for just until I sign the membership. And then after that, there's no more accountability. They're out, they're peace, they're done, right? And I kind of see them here and there. But with what I liked about CrossFit and this CrossFit, your CrossFit in particular, is that you're genuine about saying, hey, like, no, like, we want, like, when you say we want to see you do better, like, you guys really mean it. And that's not just at your gym. As I've been going to different CrossFit affiliates around the area just to visit them, dude, they are all the same way. They're all the same way. It's like, I legit want to see you do better, and there's a legit of accountability is what I really, really like. So
hell yeah. And like I said, if you've never tried CrossFit, try a CrossFit gym near you. I could talk forever about the good things that come from CrossFit. I own a CrossFit gym. I love this training style. I love it. It's the best way to get fit on the planet. I've tried a lot of things, and it's the best way, hands down, to get fit and to just be an overall healthier, fitter version of yourself. CrossFit, high level of performance. You're a high performer. That's why we have you on this podcast, Off the Couch, is we just support things, getting you active, getting off the couch. Let's circle back to you as a high performer being a businessman. Mm-hmm. And so you have a roofing company.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're anything like me, I'm sure you're passionate about roofing. I'm passionate about fitness. I can talk too much about fitness, and before you know it, we're going to be here for hours on end. And this is not a Joe Rogan podcast. We don't like to talk for 3 hours.
Look, I set 4 hours aside just in case.
Perfect. Well, you guys, you're in for the long haul here.
I'm just kidding.
Real quick, as short as you can, how did you get into roofing?
I got into roofing because I was tired of working a regular 9-to-5 job that they told me what my value was. And I needed to just say, you know what? my value.
I feel that.
Right, but
feel
like,
that.
so I was like, you know what, like I know my actual value and what I can bring to the table. And honestly, where I was working at, there was a lot of roofing companies that was like, you should sell roofs, you should do this. And I was like, you know what, I need money, I need to make a good living. And long story short, I started working for a roofing company, moved out to Colorado for that business. Things didn't work out the way it was supposed to. And then I said, you know what, I can do this myself. And I started my own roofing company the way how I wanted to run. And it's a very small roofing company here locally, but I love it,
Yeah.
And my thing too is when I see an area and opportunity in an industry, especially in roofing that I went to, I was like, I want to be that change that I want to see. And in roofing, there's a stereotype of like these guys they don't care about, they really don't care about the homeowner. They just come in, they pressure you into actually getting a roof replaced, and you don't ever see them again, and they're just in and out, and they're just kind of like these douchebags. I'm not a douchebag. Most people will say I'm not a douchebag.
The verdict's out on this.
All right, but I said, you know what? I actually want to, like, I
The
genuinely,
jury's out.
I genuinely care about good customer service. And when I got into the insurance part of the roofing industry, one reason why I really wanted to help advocate for people to making sure that people are using their benefits through their insurance company to get a major part of their home replaced was because my parents lost their home during a home fire. And there was no contractor to help my parents. The insurance company, they don't want to spend what they don't. I love insurance companies, but let's just be honest, they don't want to spend what they need to spend to get things replaced. Like, it's just anything
They're quick to take your money, but they're not quick to give you the money. So.
Yeah, exactly. But as long as if you have someone there that kind of helps you, educate you, or guide you through the process of that, and the benefit of us having MTN Roofing saying, hey, like, you know what, there is enough hail damage to replace the roof, get a roof replacement through your insurance company. Let us help you work that process, and once that happens, then we can go ahead and replace the roof. Now, just so you know that we're not insurance adjusters, we're not insurance. We don't talk about policies or anything like that, but we do, say, hey, like, this is what we've seen in the past experiences of, like, hey, we've seen this. What can you say is, how can I say this in the right way of when it comes to replacing your roof, when it comes as a roofing company, I cannot talk specifically about your policy, but I only can talk about like what we've seen from other people. So, and what our experiences are. So, but there's a whole new thing right now with the roofing industry of like the insurance company is like, hey, these guys are not insurance adjusters. No, but we know what to look for.
Got it.
So, but anyways, but yeah, so that's how I got into the roofing industry. Was like, hey, I need to, I want to be able to help people in their homes that way. My dad, he always did remodeling in homes. Like, ever since I was 7 years old, I was always working on someone else's house because my dad was like, hey, if you want to do something, you need to work for it. And so he showed me how to like mask off, like tape off areas so we can paint. And he showed me how to like do minor repairs. And he was like, hey, whatever job you're doing, just know you should always have a fallback. And my fallback was always roofing. You know what I mean? My fallback is always having that consistent of doing that. So that's my quick thing on MTN Roofing.
That wasn't very quick, but it's
oh yeah, I know. I'm long-winded.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
You're passionate about it. I love it. I love to see the passion. I'm passionate about what I do, and I will easily talk for a very long time. I do it in class all the time. So I can testament to his company, MTN Roofing. He replaced my mother's roof.
And your sisters.
And my sisters. Great to work with, great people. The customer service experience is amazing. They're with you every step of the way. It's never fun really working with contractors, insurance adjusters. They make it so it's easy. They're doing the brunt of the work. Literally, you just get them on the phone and they're probably going to take care of everything for you. So that's plug MTN Roofing. We'll give you guys their info at the end here. Real quick question for you. Now, you were working for this old roofing company back in Texas, and you decided, once you moved here, things were changing and you decided to open your own roofing business. Now, coming from my personal experience being an entrepreneur, this can be one of the most risky, stressful decisions you've ever made. And why did you decide to take the risk of opening your own company there's the huge risk of being an entrepreneur that it's not going to work. It's going to cost you a ton of money. It's going to go under. You're going to be in a ton of debt. And there's just a lot of stress on the day to day that you're taking all that stress on. So what made you bet on yourself that this was going to work?
Man, honestly, was trusting in God. And like I just like honestly,
I like that answer.
you just have to. You really have to just, when you have when I was working with the other roofing company, things didn't pan out how I planned it. And we went our different ways, and it was just kind of like, man, it is a bummer. And now that roofing company has actually reached out and they've said, hey, we're sorry. They've now actually they're my mentor.
That's
what I
awesome.
mean? So
time heals all wounds.
Exactly. But the thing is that taking that chance of saying, you know what, I can do this, and it's really really relying on you got to trust yourself, right? But before I could do that, was I had to learn from my experiences. I had to learn from the day to day of I've made so many mistakes in the past starting my roofing company or starting in the roofing industry that you learn from your mistakes. And once I learned so many things from my mistakes and knowing different scenarios I can run into when I start my roofing company, I was prepared for that. I was prepared to I need to prepare myself for any scenario that might happen, and I just said, okay, I just gotta go in on and on it. Sorry.
No, you're good. Business partner CJ's here. What's up, man?
What up?
How's it going?
Battery's dying.
Oh, that's good.
No.
Well, we don't have a ton of time. That's fine.
You want to plug it up?
Yeah, you're welcome to come on in. And yeah, you're good.
Do you want me to plug it
So,
up to your iPhone?
Real quick. So you decided to open this roofing company, and it's a big risk. And I always say, in order to get a big reward, we have to take big risks. It's not common that we see people taking these big risks. If you want the reward, the risk has to be big most of the time. And most times, we take.
I'm sorry.
You're good. Most times we take the safe way out, and we go with decisions that are maybe just have a little bit more cushion. If you're working your corporate 9 to 5, that's fine. There's a higher level of safety there. You got your benefits, your 401k. You have all these things that are kind of the safety net for you, but the reward is not as high. The risk isn't as big, so the reward isn't as high. There's a good chance you're not going to be a millionaire working your corporate 9 to 5. I'm not saying you can't, but the chances are that's just not going to happen. But if you're someone that's like, man, maybe I want to have the boat, or I want to have the jet skis and the snowmobiles and the yacht and the mountain house and the summer house, you're going to have to make a high level of income. And usually the way that works is you have to take a big risk. And one of the biggest ways to take this risk is to be an entrepreneur. Your ceiling for how much you can make is infinite, but it's all on you. It's all on your shoulders, and the risk is there. And so taking that risk, man, I have so much respect for people that are business owners and entrepreneurs, is because, man, they decide to take this risk. They have this high level of expectation or performance. You're betting on yourself, which to me, I'm passionate about. I love people that bet on themselves. It just shows that level of confidence or that drive that you have that's like, hey, I'm not really sure how this is going to happen, but what I can tell you is I'm willing to bet on myself to make this work, and I'm going to do my very best to make this a thing. Real quick, last question about roofing, and we're going to move on to Uno Mas, and then we'll try to close this out before our battery dies over here.
Do you want me to plug it up? I can try to plug it up.
No, it's actually not going to because of our mics.
No,
it's okay. We're going to keep this quick. So real quick, you can keep this a couple word answer. Now, when it comes to success in your roofing business, what do you find has more weight? Do you find worrying about your marketing, worrying about how much money's coming in or money distribution, or the customer experience? What do you think has the biggest weight?
Customer experience and our quality.
And quality.
Yeah, those are the two things that I 100% is like, those two things need to go hand on hand, and that's the thing I worry about the most. Are we executing what we promise? So
absolutely. And as me from a business owner, I could 100% agree. The client experience is paramount. That is number one. offering a quality product is number 2, and then everything else is going to fall into line from there. Yes, it's important to be on your books and to know your financials and stuff, but man, if you focus on that client experience, customer experience, and your product, all that other stuff is going to come into place. All right, and you're going to be so successful, you can hire someone to do your books for you. Cool. We're going to segue real quick to Uno Mas. All right, so you started coming to CrossFit MOB, and shortly thereafter, you saw that we have apparel. CrossFit has its own apparel and stuff, and you got this bright idea that's, you know what, I want to have my own apparel. What was your motivation for that?
My motivation was couldn't find anything cool that fit me that I like.
Hey, I like it.
that was the number one thing. I wanted something that I could find that I felt good. One thing about working out is like I want to at least look good and feel good while I'm working out. And one of those things is not finding a shirt that fits and feels good that fit my my body. You know what I mean? So so that was the one thing too. And then also too, something that I want to see motivate myself when I can't tell myself I can't go on or I can't do this anymore. At least when I look at myself in the mirror, I can see something that says, you know what, Uno Mas, I can go at least one more. So,
heck yeah, and I love that. He started coming here. He started Uno Mas after coming to Mob. I love the ideal behind it. That's you can always do one more or push yourself just for that extra rep. It supports high performance, getting off the couch. It's really, really amazing stuff. Uno Mas, I love the clothing brand. It fits good. They got great designs. As you can see, we got some up here. We sell these at our gym. He sells them multiple different places as well. We're going to close up here just so this doesn't cut off on y'all. So I really appreciate you coming on. Anthony, thank you so much. CrossFitter, number 1. Owner of MTN Roofing, also owner of Uno Mas Ropa. You're a high performer. You expect high performance out of yourself. That's something we love, and I hope that you continue to do that. We're here to support you along the way of doing that, especially when it comes here to CrossFit. But man, it's just so motivational to see people that just have this drive to be better. And it doesn't have to be better in the gym. It's like to be better at roofing or owning this roofing company, or to be better at doing a clothing company or creating product or selling a product or a service. Like this constant pursuit to be better. And that's really what I'm about, what our gym's about, what this podcast is about, is like, hey, let's just try to be better versions of ourselves. And most of the time that involves you getting off your butt and doing something. So get off the couch, get to work. All right, real quick, just to plug you, how can the people find your roofing company, and what are your service areas? How can they find you?
All right, so you can go to mtnroofing.com. So just go to mtnroofing.com. You can find us there, also on Instagram, mtnroofing. At MTN Roofing. We honestly go all the way up to Fort Collins, all the way down to Peyton. So we try to stay within a 2-hour radius of the Denver metro. We don't go too far out to Pueblo or anything like that, just in the case if we have to do some kind of warranty issues, we want to make sure we get to you in a timely manner. So yeah, that's where we're at there. So.
Perfect. If anyone's listening to this out of state and they have roofing questions, would you do any consulting for them? Or
definitely do. And we also have a small location. We have a couple of guys out in Dallas. So we do have Dallas. We have some sales reps out in Dallas. Those are the only 2 locations that we have. But again, Dallas Metro is just DFW Metro. But yeah, if anyone is not in those 2 locations, feel free to give me a call. I'll definitely give you some advice on roofing and any other questions. So yeah,
cool. You can answer your roofing questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. So call him and bug the crap out of him. What's that number?
Okay, so it's 720-808-3306. And then you can also just go to our website. On our website, there's a link where it says contact us. Contact it right there. And then
perfect.
Have your little questions there.
Roofing questions. Hit them up. Lastly, Uno Mas. All right. This is some of their gear. If you're not watching, well, they got some pretty cool gear. They got some cool designs. They've done cool collaborations. I like their stuff. We have some of their gear here. You can see this hat. You can actually enter to win this hat. He's going to tell you about Uno Mas, their handles, and also how you're going to win this hat.
All right, so you can find us at Uno Mas Ropa. So on Instagram, it's at Uno Mas Ropa. On YouTube, it's youtube.com/@ Uno Mas Ropa. Okay, and then that's also on TikTok. It's at Uno Mas Ropa. So everything's Uno Mas Ropa. And then you can win this hat by liking and subscribing to his platform as Off the Couch Podcast.
That's right, Off the Couch Podcast.
So just make sure you like, subscribe to them, and then once you do that, he's going to be giving away this hat right here. So this is the hat that we had up at Waterpalooza. We're at Waterpalooza, so this is the hat where we actually, debuted this shirt and the beach hat at Waterpalooza. So yeah, and you can also get them at CrossFit Mob. You can get, if you don't like to do things online, you want to just do stuff at Cash or whatever, you can go to CrossFit Mob to pick out some exclusives there. We don't even have this on the website. So if you want this hat, you have to come in to either a pop-ups or you have to come to CrossFit Mob, CrossFit Ridgeback. CrossFit Ridgeback, CrossFit One Beat, CrossFit Thornton will have some actual clothing at those locations too. So yeah.
Heck yeah. And this is a great hat, y'all. I have one. I mow my lawn with it. I do my yard work with my shirt off so my neighbors can see all my great fitness results. And it is a great hat. So you can win it. Like you said, like and subscribe. Off the Couch Podcast, our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. And then you're also going to like the Uno Mas Ropa page on Instagram. And you'll be entered to win one of these sweet hats. All right. Well, that's it for our podcast. That is our first one. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for coming.
This is great.
We look forward to having more episodes. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Off the Couch Podcast. We're out.
Peace. That was fun.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Off the Couch Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, let's try to find something that inspires us to get off the couch.